What's up, my? It is Thursday, February 5th. And if you have not realized by now, it's the 5th of the second month. That means you are dying. What do you mean by that? That means you are dying. What do you mean by that? That means January swept by and you were unconscious. You didn't make money. You didn't craft love. You didn't go out and see the mountains, oceans, rivers, and kayaks. And most importantly, you didn't even spend time alone, because when you guys spend time alone, it's always texting someone, but it's alone. But that's not true alone time. True alone time is when you go hiking early in the morning with no electronics, and you pick a spot where you're fully exhausted, where all of the bundles of nerves must relax into after full exhaustion, and you enter inward, and you turn into the forest, and you start to understand that everyone in this world is against you. They are against themselves because they are you. Man does not know where he's going. Man is a machine. Man looks at the window as he's I'm a window shopper, looking into the window into the Gucci store, and then you see your watch. But it is on your hand, and 8 hours just flew by. Some of you have not touched a woman in a year. Some of you in 5. Some of you it's been 10 years. And some of you have just gave up like little, thinking that a little Christian YouTuber can save you from the depths of your loneliness. You think being lonely is cool. Let me tell you something, man. When you're lonely, you are not spiritual. When you are alone and full, that's when you are spiritual. And guess what? When you're around her, she should be like a feedback loop telling you about yourself. And when she looks at you, she should be knowing herself through you, not the inverted mirror, not the other way. I want to get to know her. Really? Is that that's how you're going to walk through this world? What if I told you 99.9% of on earth are as stupid and ugly as you? Have you ever stopped to consider what is that in Walmart? Like, what, those are human beings. No, they're you. If I walk past you on the street, I wouldn't notice you. You are not within ego consciousness. You did not make the cut. And here's the truth, man. Whoever these recordings and posting them online, they sound stupid without the slurs. Like, you could post all my shit. It sounds stupid without hearing me say, all right, sell all of your Ethereum. Sell all of your Bitcoin, my brother told me. And I said, nigga, do that for me, bro. Just, yeah, whatever you want to panic, just do. Don't you understand that it's money is karmic substance? That's why Justin Bieber paid 12 million for an NFT that is worth 33 cents today. He lost 12 fucking million dollars on a coin, and I told you fucking NFT what the fuck is gonna happen when you run to the new thing like the you are. All of your buddies who trade are still broke, and the one that does have money has an ugly girlfriend. And you're copying him. You're headed that way. There's some YouTuber, he teaches me how to trade on YouTube, and his dad started him off. He didn't even make it himself. Some of you are obsessed with trading and stocks, but here's the truth. You're not even a part of the club. You're not a part of the game. You're just pretending you're doing something. I'm up and I'm down and I'm up again. I'm up and I'm down. You're embarrassing yourself. You're a fucking idiot. And if you do get lucky, let's say you make 8 bands. I made $8,000 trading crypto. Oh my God. Let's say you did do that 6 years later. Let's say you accomplished that, which if you look at the percentage of how many people even do that's like $8,000 is nothing. What the fuck? But you look at someone who does accomplish something like that, it's like, just look at the time lapse of his life. Nothing changed. Literally nothing changed. So when you guys have these big googly eyes that I'm gonna figure out the system, when you guys have these big googly eyes, you should know that it was cute 8 years ago, but it's cringe right now, bro. You've been saying the same thing over and over again that you're gonna get rich this year, you're gonna do it, and then you're just watching it on you in every metric, and you're just sitting there in your little fucking DX racer chair. And you're sitting there and you're like, well, when I pop off, I'll live like Zherka. But we've seen niggas pop off and they still couldn't live like me. The women still didn't sit on their lap. They got no skill sets for the world to be fun. And yes, to have fun in the world, why did you think that you were just given fun? Fun is a skill set you develop. For example, if you don't know how to talk to a woman, you're not having as much fun as the next guy. That's like period point. If you don't know how to play tennis, you're not having as much fun as the tennis player. I'll tell you that much. If you don't know how to bench press, you're not getting excited that you're putting another plate on that bitch because you're not progressing. Life requires a skill set. Do you know that? Like to walk in the world, it requires, you can't just be born in the world and have fun. That never happens. Fun is a skill set. If you, I want to be a good public speaker. That's fun. People love listening to me talk. I'm having fun with it. Why are you having fun? Because it's a skill set. Okay, you suck at basketball. I'm having fun sucking. No one says that. It's a skill set. So the word life doesn't just mean rhythm, it means skills. And there's fun in developing skills. And it doesn't end. For example, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the man that I was his body double, which everyone confuses that with a stunt double. As awesome as that would be, my nigga, I'm not doing backflips, bro. I was a sitting in body double from Principal's Talent with Jason Ainsley. And don't call his fucking work asking. Many have done that, and he said, yes, enough. Stop calling me about Zherka. The guy he probably doesn't even want to be associated with the most toxic channel on earth. He wants to be associated with me, a man who calls himself a murderer, a man who calls himself a psycho, a man that is a marketing machine, and a man that got infiltrated. Bro, I got infiltrated. People are like, I gotta find out if he's lying about this Dwayne Johnson thing, because that's pretty cool if he did that on Trend. Oh, they didn't pay him much? Well, it's still cool. I think he's lying about this. I'm gonna call his manager, Jason. And Jason's like, dude, you can hear in his fucking trembling voice, the guy doesn't even want to be associated with me. It's not like he was my Yassine manager where I'm partying with him, having fun. He was like the call manager that I didn't get to party with. And if I did, I'd have some incriminating footage of him so he could, you know what I mean? But shout out Jason for telling the truth. At least he tells people, yes, Zherka had that. I'm like, thank you, because nothing, fuck Hollywood. It's about Dwayne Johnson. Okay? Look, Dwayne Johnson is the top of the top. And the top of the top of the top. Let's be real. Like, we can make fun of him being a Terramana selling liberal, but he's at the top of the top of the top. One of the highest paid actors, or whatever they say. And, they put him in a in a pink tutu to make that kind of money because I was not cute enough. They said I had back hair. He just had muscles and beautifully shimmering skin because of all the growth hormone makes your skin shine like that. And so, yeah, it's like, yeah, he gets hundreds of millions of dollars for Tooth Fairy. And before anyone says, dude, you wouldn't say that to his face, I would. Dwayne The Rock Johnson is someone who he displays zero violent aura. Like when I enter studios, people actually, this one dude asked me on this podcast, you seem like the kind of guy that would grab the mug, the mug, the Black Rifle coffee mug, or whatever, just a coffee mug, and smash it into the interviewer's face on some impulsive shit. And I guess he's trying to ask me, like, am I unstable from all the things he's heard about me? And I looked into his eyes and I said, there's no mug here. And the dude shit his fucking pants. Because he looked at the table, he actually flinched like I was gonna reach over and I'm like those Zulu, bro. I'm a Zulu. And so, do I get any unstable energy from someone like Dwayne? No, he seems so stable. He's afraid of a comment section. He even said that. He's like, I don't want to upset the people. But Dwayne is so badass. As much as you want to shit on the guy in his Terramona, fuck your Terramona, man. Fuck your Terramona. Anyone here who's ever touched that Terramona is a. And while we're talking about this, I just want to remind people, Dwayne's the best. He's at the top of the top. Let's not ever beat around the bush and say he's not. Besides that, no, Dwayne before they got him in a dress, he was normal and just had millions and millions and millions of dollars. And we like to see it, everyone wants to see a win. So Dwayne's cool, but let's be real, man. He was probably on that Epstein shit. Epstein Island. Would John Zherka ever be found there? That's the real question. And the answer is, of course not. I cannot even imagine seeing John Zherka on a island, let alone the island. I cannot even see Zherka being around a shady person, let alone someone like Jeffrey. And I cannot see Zherka dabbing up Jeffrey and asking him, hey, yo, where are the teenagers at? I just cannot even picture consciousness, see anything dark like that with Zherka. I cannot even see Zherka saying something like, well, I didn't know. How was I supposed to know? You're telling me that you would know? Would you go around IDing everyone? Would you just, when's the last time you even asked for someone's ID on an island? You know what I mean? It's like things we have to think about. Do I think that you guys would fall for Jeffrey Epstein? 100,000%. You guys would fall for that goofy smile. And he has that uncle smile. Some people are archetypally uncles, and Jeffrey is the archetypal uncle that smiles at you like, hey, I've got something to share in front of your father that'll make everything awkward. Like, my nigga, I'm too young for this, bro. He's like, no, let me tell you a joke, okay? Why did they cross the road? They're on crack, man. They always cross the fucking road. Getting them out of the country, it's another story. These goddamn, they're everywhere. The thing about is, have you ever noticed that they're the they are the most easily impressed unconscious people in society? Like, have you ever seen a black guy crossing the road? It actually looks like he's really employed, like he's late for work. Like, why is he taking such long strides, and why is he crossing the road so aggressively? And it's almost like there's a treasure on the other side of the sidewalk. Or is he just doing that to startle everyone? Or is it like an alpha dominance thing? Or is he he just can't control his metabolic limb system is just overpowering everything. And I'm talking about, like, have you black people shouldn't be able to walk around aggressively, you know? They need to adjust their walk to a slower tempo, and we got to speed white people up because they're going a little too slow. Everyone got to meet in the middle a bit. But startling someone, have you ever seen a black guy come out of an alleyway and you're just thinking to yourself, like, what the fuck is in there? Like, every time he's like, what is in that alleyway? What the, because this guy doesn't look like he does crack. He's just some random black guy. But what could possibly be every, I don't see Chinese people ever walking out of an alleyway, even behind their own, maybe behind their restaurants, they'll light up a cigarette. I could see one of those working employees doing, going for their smoke break. And Chinese people are just so sad, man. Like, they're look closely into their um look closely into their slits, man, and try and see their eyes. Chinese people are so away from the good. Like, they don't do any crime, they don't harm anyone, and somehow they're still not good guys. Have you ever noticed that? Like, how do you do no evil and you're still not a good guy? Right? Are you like in a, they're like the most neutral force in nature. It's like, anytime you talk to a Chinese person, they're almost telling you, hey, I hope you forget about me. Because you're gonna forget about them. Like, they're so violently boring as people. Like, talk to an Asian person, they're so fucking boring to talk to. And they don't have like a group identity with China, and they don't have a group identity with the US, and they don't have anything. All they have is this safety identity that they're just safety maxing all the time. You've been to a Chinese person's house, like, even the walls are softer, like everything is pussy ass soft bullshit. It's so quiet, and all you hear is their noodles are done, and they're not even they're done from like the little electronic pictures they have. Like, they buy shit like that, and you're thinking to yourself, like, how can anyone live this quiet? I love a quiet life, but I always counter music when I'm driving in my fucking twin turbo Corvette. I'm the fastest on the road. I'm the deadliest on the road. Nothing can touch me. I'm a fucking maniac. And then I go into my meditation, and I have both sides of my energy. And that way, when I speak on a podcast, you get the slow and the aggressive, which means infinite clickbait. There's a cadence to being interesting that humans have forgotten about. My dad almost slapped the shit out of me in front of everyone at Cactus Club at the restaurant because I said, "Okay, Dad, I gotta stop talking." And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Just the way you talk is not interesting. You're just talking like a human, and I'm talking like a podcaster. I feel like I don't want to engage in this conversation anymore." And he looked at me like he was gonna bitch smack me, like, "What? I have to be an entertainer in front of you?" I'm like, "But when you're in the mood to entertain me, you do entertain me. You know what I mean? When you're in the mood, you do entertain me. So why did you stop? Why do humans think they just talk normally to each other? No, you should be interesting when you speak to someone. And now I have to take questions from you guys, and it's gonna be the voices ever. Like, listen to this shit, man. Let's bring some people up. Let's hear what the community has to say. Okay, go ahead. Number one, Drew. Drew, we don't have time for this shit. What is your questions? Tap in, Epstein. Hit.
I think what you're saying, it kind of relates to what Nick said, where like nobody has no gravitas. They have no character when they speak. Consumers now speak soullessly, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And um, my question I would ask you, that I wanted to ask you too, is remember when you said that Carl Jung and Freud were gay? Do you change your opinion on that, or?
Yeah. Listen, you gotta understand a lot of the content I do is trolling, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when I'm talking about certain things, you should understand that I call everyone if I
Yes.
if I need to generate interest in that person. So I remember I said on a podcast, I said he did a gay ritual, and the guys who followed Carl Jung after that, they were super interested in it, the gay ritual.
Yeah.
They became Jungian psychologists. One of my buddies actually studies Jung, and he's in college and all that. And he found me online, and he's like, "Why would you? Why would you? Why would you do that? Like, why would you trick me like that? Why are you such a trickster, Zherka? Why is everything you do? There's a deeper thing to it. Is everything a trick with you?" And I'm like, be honest. The week before that you watched me and I spoke about Jung, you never even Googled him. And he was 18 back then. And he's
Yeah.
like, holy fuck, sometimes you actually trick me into studying something I didn't want to study. And I'm like, yes. Now you understand. It's almost like I call people unconscious losers. So it echoes in their head a bit. So they enter into more consciousness throughout the day and they see it's like a candle flame. Consciousness is your soul is a flame. And people go, wait a minute, he's actually helping. And when I tell you guys that you don't get women, that's not to waken you guys up or anything. That's to remind you that you work hard. You make all that money and your life sucks.
Yeah.
That is the system not fucking evil? Isn't it a time for a motherfucking revolution? Everyone always says to me, right now you're laying down with two women next to you, talking to everyone on Twitter, and you're feeling very poetic right now, but why don't you just forget the world? And it's like there's a guilt with living a rock star lifestyle, not a moral guilt or whatever you fucking dumb modern Christians talk about. There is a moral guilt in I am at a higher level than the people that watch me. And have you ever done cocaine and wanted to share it with the world? Like, oh, wow, this was actually a good line. Or have you ever watched a movie and you wanted to share it with your family and friends and everyone you know? Have you ever wanted to share something just because it made you a more loving person? I want to share with my community and I cannot do it. I cannot do not in a cuck way, in a you should be laying down too with your bitches, because let me tell you right now, Elijah Schaefer cheated on his wife, and that's you. You are Elijah Schaefer. all of you watching this are, remember, Elijah's a man who was impressed by a BMW. Like he actually posts his BMW on, like we give a fuck about it. There's no human on earth that's impressed by Beamers. Okay? I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater. I'm just saying there's never been a human that snaps their head back and says, whoa, that's an M nothing. There is not one human, none of them, not even the beautiful i8 that's not even fast. It's not even fast. It's just got the nice doors so you can go on a date night and actually look cool. And it's attractive looking, but it doesn't make you snap your head. These cars don't impress, and Bavarian Motorsports has never fucking. I mean, Motorworks has never fucking impressed anyone, bro. No human on earth has said that's a Beamer. There's never been a woman that says you drive a BMW. This is fake news. Go to America, walk around, and try and find that. I think the only maybe Europeans are so poor that they find a BMW expensive. Maybe some in some fucking pieces of shit parts of Europe, but I seriously doubt, unless you're one of those car enthusiasts that are those, those kids who try and like cars to look masculine. They don't actually like cars. Like they drive like pussies. They don't even put their foot down. They're trying to keep it all clean. They're, oh my God, I can't pass the limit. No, I can't pass the speed limit. This is my brand new BMW. It's a fucking BMW. If you can't, it's literally made. It's made to be trashed. It's literally made to be scratched. How the fuck are you taking care of a? I'm taking care of a. Dude, the buddies I have don't even take care of their Lambos. They don't give a fuck if they scratch them. You're a fucking idiot. You're afraid to scratch a BMW. And there's something so pathetically sad that people fall into this, where it's like there's this illusion that, like poor Elijah, he he was convinced that a BMW is like a hot, it's something that's going to dominate the road, and it's like that's never happened in history. Why are you posting your BMW? I remember when he posted it with a cigar in his mouth. I'm like, I even when I had a Range Rover, I didn't post because I said, it's just a Range. These guys are bro. Like for me to post the car is like it either has to be a fucking 920 horsepower something or don't post it at all. Like what the fuck? You could post it on your personal stuff, but post on fucking Twitter. You better impress us with that shit. And the number one rule about having a nice car is you have to be a stud. The number one rule in having a fast car is you have to be good looking. That's why when a fat guy gets out of a fucking Ferrari, nobody says, look at the Ferrari. They say, that guy? And everyone in the fucking car starts laughing as we pass the fucking joint around. Or you see a fucking old man, I bet he can't even get it up. Like, that's what human. Bro, I know my uncle said, to my cousin has a Ferrari. My uncle said to him, I will never drive it because he's trying to, like, oh, you take it out, take it out. My uncle's like, no, I never drive. He's like, why? And my uncle says, because I'm an old man and I don't want to be seen in a Ferrari so people can talk about what? And I said, limp dick. And he said, shut the fuck up. And I'm trying to tell him, like, I get what you're saying. Like, I understand. And it's not out of insecurity. It's out of he want to go walk and buy the fucking shit for the party. And he got his steps in, old man got his steps in. He got to do that. But I remember thinking, I'm like, dude, at any age, I'll jump in the Ferrari. I don't give a fuck. This is fun. I don't give a fuck. I don't have that like psychological complex and shit. I just jump in and fucking let's go. But it did make me think. I'm like, actually, you know what? There is a cutoff limit. If I ever reach the age of 70, which we all know is not happening, but if I did, I don't think I would embarrass myself in a fucking Ferrari. Like, yeah, there are limits to the aesthetic. Like, let's be real. Like, I think the only intelligent people on Earth is when they're 18, they dress like they're 18. When they're 25, they dress like they're 25. When they're 35 plus, they're only in dress wear like suits and ties, right? And even 30 should really be like that, unless you have a sweating problem. Yeah, I understand if you always like sweat a lot, you can't always be dressed up. But like being your age is the funnest part of the universe. Like it's February 5th, 2026. So are you up to date with the music? You don't have to like the music, but you have to be somewhat up to date with the pop culture, with the everything that I don't follow. I force my students to follow. Why? Just so they can be up with the spirit of the times. Because have you ever noticed that everything you like is 5 to 6 years ago? Yeah, there's a lot of guys who follow me and they love everything about me and they talk to me in the DMs as if it's 2023 right now. And I'm like, whoa, wow. People live in shadow versions of themselves. Like some of you guys are still walking around like your 2024 self. If you're deeply unconscious, some people are still stuck in COVID era. If you're fat, tired, ugly, all that shit, you're probably stuck in that COVID swamp that made the whole world ugly. It's like a mental health crisis started with that shit, right? Well, it's not like it was. But you have to realize that when your eyes open in the morning, that is you getting ready to refresh the page, stay up with the news, be in the world but not of it. That is important. That's why people are like all my students say, why did you force me to make a Twitter? And when you forced me to make a Twitter, you didn't post for like a month. What the fuck? I'm like, I didn't force you to make a Twitter to follow my shit. I'm telling you, I'm forcing you to make a Twitter because Instagram will ruin your life. You have to be a part of the world. You'll see trends that are not for you until that one comes up that is more up your alley, and you'll make a shit ton of money off that. Like you will see the matrix and where you're supposed to go. You will see the trends. You will see the ones that fit you, the ones that don't. It's like surfing the world, and that's the only way to move. That's the only way to make money in the world. Every other way is exhausting. This is the only way you have limitless energy because it's always a new feed. And by the way, you're spoiled with all the Epstein leaks. You know how boring Twitter's going to get in about a week, right? Oh, it's going to get more interesting for the Epstein stuff, but everything else is, it can't even touch, it can't hold the candle. That's why I'm saying, I'm like, guys, dig in there, use your apps correctly. I remember this bitch said to me, Zherka, you only have 2 apps on your phone. And I'm like, look how much money I have. Look how much money you have. And I kissed her because I always feel guilty when I call. And they go, well, then why are you saying it, John? Because it turns me on. I have a rotten background. I have things to answer for, and I would be apologetic, but that would that wouldn't keep. And she's looking at me like I want his hard because he gets poetic when it's hard, but also this is not fair. He just keeps calling. I don't like it. Guys say, "Oh, just call her." She likes it. Actually, no, they don't. They don't like it. They only like it when they know, oh, it's Zherka. He's not going to stop saying it. Nothing will stop him from saying it. He's going to go on a rant for 2 hours of why he should say it. He's going to actually brainwash the universe, everyone around him right now, why he should say it. Why? Because Zherka loves bad karma. He loves it. We all consume and create bad things. It's just about picking and choosing, okay? And so if I want to call, first of all, am I doing it out of love? That's up for her to decide. Because the truth is, I'm not. I'm doing it out of compulsion. I have this thing that, like, you ever want to choke? We can't talk about it on here. Okay, we're not going to talk about it on here, but I have more money than you. I have more women than you. I have more peace than you. I have more than you. I have more everything than you. You are a loser. And that's what this space is about today. Okay, what's the next question?
Yo, that was hilarious. I want to ask about like Sarah's stock, right? Like how everyone in the space is kind of like Christian, and then they're calling them out like, oh, these people portray themselves as Christian. Look what's going on. But at the same time, I mean, there's like a very famous parable about Jesus, telling like the shorty that was sleeping around, you shouldn't shame it. How do you make sense of that? Like I see it like, yo, you shouldn't be calling them whores like publicly like that unless you're saying it as a joke out of play.
Yeah, I get this question so much and it breaks people out of the matrix. I had one dude freak the fuck out on me because what I say is more this following sentence that I say is more important than anything I'll ever say in my life to you guys, for you Christians. When you're looking at the incarnation of Jesus Christ, what you are seeing is the highest level of initiate, not just God. So basically, if you're seeing someone run the Matrix in a perfect speed run, if you're watching that, it's no wonder you can never speak like Jesus. And that's not the point. You're not supposed to transform it. Have you seen those people who suppress all of their language? They want to say the word fuck, but they suppress it to be a Christian and they build nasty shadows. Dude, I'm telling you, if you understand, we're not going to go into it. I don't need everyone getting confused. But if you understand what I speak about, it takes many, 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 many cycles for you to run your incarnation like Jesus. And at the top of your game, you won't hold a candle still. Not that you'll fuck up. Many initiates get to that point of where they're damn near almost at perfect levels of consciousness, right? Almost there. But I'm telling you right now, it's like the idea that you think you have to first of all, you should see this. If you try and suppress any of your energy, you're already fucking up. If you try and run a Zherka incarnation without saying, if you have an incarnation that's really poetic and you suppress the poetry because you want to be more masculine, then that's going to harm you even more. And guess what? You're evolving. You're going to keep evolving until all that language turns into sweet, wise words. But don't skip to the final stage because that's how you build a shadow and fall the fuck off forever. Take it one step at a time. What do you think at 41, 51 years old, Zerka's going to swear as much? No, we're seeing a different trajectory where I'm transforming into every fucking month of my life. I am sweeter to the world, but I will never be sweet today. Do you know why? Because that's fake. You can only do what you can manage to do and never more. And I'll tell you this, man, there's nothing you've ever accomplished in your life that wasn't downloaded percent by percent. And sometimes it would stop loading little by little, crumb by crumb. You've never actually seen mastery over anything without someone being obsessed with the details at first. Little by little by little, you become a lot. But check this out. As soon as you realize you're a lot, you stop growing. And now you're little again because everyone else is becoming a lot. Do you understand that if you want to be a big creator on YouTube one day or whatever your dreams and aspirations are, even if not one video at a time, and cut that video into 3 minutes and keep cutting it smaller, little by little, and the refinement process is the momentum. The refinement process where you don't get views for many years, that's fine. As long as you like your product, it's becoming better and better to you, then all it takes is one. And now, all that refinement process is actually, you see it in the external, and it's externalized as views. Like a lot of videos you guys love of certain YouTubers took, for example, let's say there's a Mr. Beast video that took him 8 months to finish, and it got 80 million views. You see how he got paid for every second of that month? Every single one of those months. The more effort he put into that video, it shows in the external every single time. The only problem is you don't know when it will show. For some people, in 3 years, I always give the strongest example of my my black friend Dean. So cool. He said when I first got on Twitch, I was hanging out with him, and everyone's like, "Why are you hanging out with him? He's been at 0 viewers for 7 years, and you should hang out with the popular kids." And I'm like, "No, Dean's my boy. What the fuck?" And I met him on the Raj Patel show, and I kept laughing at his jokes because he sounded like me, and I said Dean has potential. He's gonna pop off. And the whole internet made fun of me for so long, months and months and months, because they said he's been streaming to one person for 7 years. He's an army guy, and yeah, 6 months later he popped the fuck off, got sponsored and everything. I think was it with G Fuel or G2, I don't know. And everyone was shocked. Everyone started being friends with him and sucking him off. And we were on a podcast together, and he's like, "Zherka always knew." I'm like, "I did." And a lot of people were like, "Oh, you said that because he's your buddy." But my chatters caught on. They're like, "But Zherka had many Twitch friends. He didn't say that about any of them, even the bigger ones, even the smaller, none. He just said it about Dean." So I didn't say it to make him feel cool. I hate when friends do that. Like, "Hey, you can make it, bro." I hate positive reinforcement just for the sake of being positive. I think it's the lowest levels of consciousness. Like I've had buddies say, "Man, I don't think I'm gonna make it because of this, this, this," and I just stay quiet and look at them because I don't feel like they're gonna make it. I'm not gonna lie to them. And it looks cruel until they start popping off later and realizing, oh shit, like Zerka's signaling to me that my content is trash, right? But why I told Dean to his face that I'm confident he's next after me is because he was doing so good with the funny jokes he's making on all the casts that I wanted to keep him sustaining that energy. Because a lot of jokesters on podcasts, they try 5 different comedy styles, and because one of the styles is funny, but they don't know which style it is, they keep switching to the other 4, and so they keep losing the audience, gaining the audience, losing. It's like horrible, yeah, especially for a live show. But if you tell someone, "Hey, this is actually where you're the funniest on this. This is the comedic style you should stick to," and spam that button, uh, people do that. A lot of people don't understand, even if you tell them to their face. But if you tell them that, "Hey, this guy's next up," they lock in and say, "Okay, I'm just going to keep doing this." And that I love telling that story because I can't imagine anyone here knows someone who's been streaming for 7 years. Which, by the way, 7 years, you fucking sucked. Like, holy shit, did you suck? But yeah, that the whole point of the story is that like the time limit of when you pop off is what tortures you. It's not the fact that it'll happen or not. Like, for example, if I say to everyone on this call, "You can all see yourself making it," everyone would say yes. Like everyone here would could be convinced, yeah, I could see a reality where that happens, right? Everyone has the power to see it, so it's real, right? Remember, just because many things are real doesn't mean they are true. For example, a murderer is real, but he's not true, right? This is not God's will. This is delaying God's will because eventually he will come back to the light. Because remember, it's like a band. You can't break God's will, but you can certainly delay it. That is what free will is, right? But it's not like you're being cast off like a snake skin forever without being invited back onto the body of the snake. Which I hate when people say that your snake imagery is evil, and be wise as serpents, my fools, not my followers, my fools. You guys really don't understand scripture. To be wise as a serpent is to understand how to manipulate someone and choose not to do it, not to not know how. Do you understand what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
I
like
just want to
Christ said, also, my voice is echoing. Christ said, I'll be raised as a serpent in the desert.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. See, you guys are locked in. And is there anything more beautiful than someone interrupting me to tell me what the Christ said? That's awesome because no one here had a problem with you interrupting. Have you noticed that? Humans cannot have a problem with someone interrupting if there's many versions of real, but there's only one version of true, and that's the Christ. And what you said comforted everyone because they all think I'm evil, and you were like, "Hey, Zerko's not evil because of this," and you drop scripture on them. But I'd like them to find it themselves. But I like that you interrupt because when people interrupt with scripture, it's like it doesn't piss anyone off. Actually, have you noticed how repetitive scripture can get, and it's never boring? How many times have we heard certain verses and we still stop scrolling on our phone just to look at it? Or how many corny verses that it's just so corny, it's so overplayed by Protestants on Twitter, but we still stop and look at it and we go, let me look at the deeper meaning and let me look at it vertically. Let me look at scripture never gets boring. For example, there's numerologists who only count the numbers of scripture. There's people dedicated their whole lives just to the numerology of scripture. Then there's people who dedicate their whole lives to certain words that are reoccurring. Then there's so many different ways to touch the Bible, and it's like when people start that journey, it's for life. Have you noticed how many Christian scholars they have white hair, not even gray, white hair? Like they've been doing it their whole lives and it sustains them. It's a beautiful thing. And I think the most disgusting thing about scripture is that people think it's racially coded. Like if you notice not in the West so much, but in Asia and stuff like that, they assume Christianity is a white thing. In the West, nobody assumes that, not really. Like you see blacks going to church all the time, or at least the women, right? So in the West, it's not really like that. But in Asia, they'd be like, oh, Christian, you must be white. And I'm like, ooh, I know that that's a huge barrier of entry. Like, imagine feeling like it's a racial thing to go to God's house. Imagine thinking going to church is a racial thing. There's so many humans on earth that say because of the way Zerka's nose is shaped and his skin color, it just makes sense that he goes to church. And it's like, no, you fucking idiot. There is no color to go into God's house. You're a You should be slapped. You should be beaten and spat on in public. There is no barrier to entry to go to God's house. Well, can I go there if I'm doing crack? If I'm Yes, you can. Any human can enter those doors. And I always make the argument that just entering, just unplugging from the fucking digital matrix for a second is enough for your curiosity to build. And but Zerko, what are you saying? You want all of your followers to be at your level of Christology and modern and esoteric? You have to have both? Yes, you do have to have both, just so you know where the truth is, right? Because if you have one, how do you know that's the truth? The truth's always in the middle, right? So you always have to, like, for example, Circa, do you want your 300,000 followers to all spend 2 hours a night on scripture? Yes. When I say to the normie masses, they don't have to do that, I'm talking to normies. If you've clicked the follow button on a Zerka account, you have to. You have to. And the only thing that should stop you from doing that is if it's boring. Because there's no amount of discipline that can make you absorb anything if you're bored. It's a lie. People say just be disciplined. If you're bored, it doesn't work. But if you listen to me speak, if you watch the way I live my life, you should say, you know what? It's impossible to be bored because I listened to Zherka already, and all Zherka ever talks about is Christology. That's the only thing he'll ever talk about. I talk about it so much that I even allow other esoteric forms of intelligence to bleed into my life, whether it's numerology or other retardation. I allow all of it to mix with our mind and try and confuse us just so you can see how fucking stupid everything is compared to the cross. You know, I allow everything. I allow you guys to pray to fucking Madonna, do evil shit, go lose yourself, destroy yourself so you can come back to us, right? So you can come back right. And you're like, oh, life is a mystery. Everybody, I allow you guys to go be Satanists and evil pieces of shit. I allow you guys to do whatever you want, so long as you're not following me. But when you press the follow button, you have no choice. You have to, out of freedom, copy everything my higher ups do. You understand? What my higher ups do, you have to do. If I say I eat watermelon every day, you have to eat watermelon every day. If I say you can't watch Nick Fuentes or Sneeko anymore, you stop watching them. But guess what? Nick is a follower of Christ. So you have to watch Nick. Sneeko is a follower of eating pork on stream. And 90% of his content, by the way, you know when I say don't build a shadow? For a year, I let Sneeko say, you run around with strippers, Zherka, blah, 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 blah. I let that build for a year. I'm like, yeah, I'm not holding a grudge. And now it's just exploding out of me. That's why you should always check your homies. Don't let shit slide. I let shit slide, but it builds a shadow, right? People are like, damn, you got a lot of fucking spite for Sneeko. And I'm like, it's just something about, I've done I used to bite my tongue because I said, Sneeko, all we have to do is get the public to like you a bit. Don't make it harder for us. And we tried so hard. He's eating pork on fucking stream. By the way, pork is disgusting. If you eat pork, you are a disgusting loser. Okay? The idea that bacon is delicious is the greatest psyop in history. I eat bacon sometimes, but it's not delicious. It's not amazing. It's kind of just crispy and salty, really overrated. And I know what you guys are thinking. Well, Zerka, you haven't had much of it in your life. I ate bacon, bro. I ate a lot of bacon in my life. Are you fucking stupid? I ate a lot of bacon in my life. It was a part of my burgers. By the way, was it around 2012 is when everything shifted and every hamburger randomly got 2 pieces of bacon in it in every restaurant. Does anyone remember in when the Matrix only had cheeseburgers? There was no a bacon burger would be considered rare. It wasn't a thing that was now every fucking place you go, it's almost like it's not a burger without the bacon. Have you noticed that? And I like that if it's like, yo, keep the Muslims out of here and all that. But I remember a time in my life where cheeseburgers were, it was so rare there was bacon on a cheeseburger that if there was bacon on that cheeseburger, you would say, I'm getting the bacon cheeseburger. Mom, Dad, this one has bacon in it. And your parents are like, well, that's interesting. That's very, well, okay. Well, I guess it works. I mean, yeah, that's not well. I mean, everyone would be like, what the? Okay, you try that bacon burger and I'll try. N- Kids today, Zoomers don't realize that there was a time where a hamburger was just a hamburger. I'm not from that time, by the way, right? Like, you have to be really old to be from the time where a hamburger was just a hamburger. I'm not saying with ham. I'm saying with, just it's just a hamburger. I'm from the time where it was a cheeseburger and it evolved. Well, I'm really more from the time where it was a double cheeseburger, right? Who here as a kid remembers every burger having 2 slices of cheese, 2 patty? It was always the double. It was always in that middle space of the double cheeseburger and it was beautiful. The world was like rainbows and fun, dragons flying in the sky. And it wasn't like a plain hamburger. Like, what does clavicular order? He orders a plain hamburger, and I'm like, is this guy from like the 1950s? Like, who does that? And he even squirts the ketchup on the plate like he's an old man. It's very strange to me. It's like, what is he, a time machine android? I've never seen something like that before. But I'm telling you, there are phases in the world, and one of the most depressing phases in the world and I'm telling you, 2016 was the greatest year to be on Earth by far. I cannot explain to you how your work felt like a circus, your circus felt like a circus, after work felt like a circus, when you partied, it felt like a circus. Uh, Whores were angels compared to whores today. They were literally angels. Everything was in the shadows. There were no such thing as gold diggers and escorts because you didn't know they were doing that. They were just getting their feet wet. They were just doing it themselves. Like if you did get cheated on, you'd find out 15 years later. It wasn't like immediately within the first week. But yeah, the phase of let's say 2007 is the last great year, unless you count movies and cinema. Then we can crank it to 2010 or 2012 with Inception. And yeah, after 2012, the world really ended. But check this out. After 2012, the world ended, and you had to do drugs to get the life interesting again. Everyone the whole West went to doing some fucking Nirvana shit. But I'll tell you this: I'm from a time where the double cheeseburger was the king, and as soon as 2012 ended, you just could not bite into a burger without having bacon. So you got used to it, and you spent many, many years, maybe 7 years, eating bacon cheeseburgers. And then one day you just get disgusted. Like, that's a pig. What the fuck am I eating this shit? You know? And is there anything else on the menu? And the more you think about bacon, the more you realize it's really overrated. And people are thinking, I hate when people think, oh, he's saying that because he's never liked bacon. I've ate more bacon than any human on earth. Look at, bro, I get fat, my nigga. Like, I've got literally on my calendar, on my wall, it says, this is the month you can get fat. I wait for that month every year. And then 3 months later, I write on the calendar, you can get fat again. Getting fat in the right way with the right foods, not pork, it actually aids in learning in a weird way, but don't try it. I think you guys should be more in the middle. It's really if you know what you're doing, and for anyone who knows my diet recommendations to increase your memory, you know what I'm saying. But I'm telling you guys right now, the bacon double cheeseburger. Who in society is it out of? It has to be out of popularity that someone liked the bacon cheeseburger that much that they said every burger has to have it, and restaurants start copying each other. But in my head, I'm like, that's not really what a cheeseburger is. That's you're adding shit now, you know, because it's not a hamburger; it's a cheeseburger or a double cheeseburger, which I'd say is in the same family. And don't pretend like there's nothing better on earth than a good double cheeseburger. But here's the black pill that's going to make you cry. Most of you listening to my voice right now have not had a good cheeseburger in over 10, 15 years. I swear I mean that. Like, really think about it. Without that tarty, tangy, weird, chemically taste. You know that chemical taste in Wendy's and even in restaurants sometimes? You haven't had a cheeseburger since you went to the park for that barbecue party where everything was just perfect on that burger, and you kind of like you walk away from the people talking. You're like, what the fuck's in this burger? This is so good. And you realize it's been 15 years since you had like a good burger. That's that burger. And you're like, wait a minute, I've ate so many burgers since then. Wendy's, McDonald's, restaurant, gourmet. I like the Gordo burger, but there's something about all these burgers, I don't consider them burgers. There's something about when I was a child or a teenager and I would have a homemade cheeseburger on a barbecue grill, and it was really good. It was like This is what America is about. This is what the West is about. They invented this, and oh, it's from Hamburg, Germany. 70% of American blood is German. You idiot. America is Germany. Germany is a land now. So don't forget that. Operation Paperclip in this bitch. And so, did everything go to shit besides the cheeseburger? Bro, even the cheeseburger, that's what I'm saying. Everything went to shit. Remember as a kid, you drink a Slurpee and it was actually your whole day? It was your whole day. That big Slurpee you're holding was your whole day. And now when you drink a Slurpee, you forget about it and you have 15 more hours to your day to worry and do stupid shit. And some of you guys forget you drank a Slurpee on the same day you drank it. But as a kid, it was your whole day. Same with Super Soakers. Remember Super Soakers? I'm born in 1994. I love that 90s energy, even though I don't feel that a part of it, because I was, the first 5 years you don't really, you're not that, you're not that aware of anything. So I've always understood the early 2000s better, but I always say some of the greatest times in history, there's many I can name, but from all those top 10, we have to put year 2000 to 2007 as the greatest 7 years in existence. The year 2000 to 2007, not that I remember all of it, I'm saying if you just Google what was out back then, the video games, the music, there was this transition period. Oh, it was before the iPhone. Oh my, before we bit the apple. Holy shit, she's right now. She's licking my balls, and I'm thinking of 2007, 2000 to 2007. So for me, that's up until grade 7. There was no iPhones. iPhones ruined everything. iPhones ruined the world, dude. Social media is the iPhone.
Hey Zherka, can you hear me?
Also feels like there was less black people back then. Anyone else feel that? Hey, what's up, black guy? I can hear you.
Zherka, I had a question.
What? You're not
So
black?
yeah, I know I'm not Zizak. Maybe my soul is, but who knows? Um,
Well, you're
Stupid.
Albanian, dude. Your soul is definitely black.
I come from King Bardila's bloodline, so I mean, the white shining star, right? Um, I had
See,
a
I
question though.
always find that weird when people tell me. I always find that weird when someone tells me I come from this bloodline. I'm from a royal bloodline, and it's like, my nigga, who cares? You're in modern time. I'm royal blood too, and it's like, bro, what? We're on iPhones right now. We're on iPhones, wasting our life, dude. We're on. I'm from a. It's kind of like.
Conversation with you
Have
about
you ever felt?
Aren't you guys all third?
Have you ever felt bad for the royal family? Like you're old, decrepit, and ugly. Like how the fuck is that a kingly incarnation? You know? Have you ever felt like I'll say this? Who here? Look, I know I never say Dick Rider shit, but this is gonna sound Dick Rider. I love Elon Musk. I really like the guy. There's something about Elon that it's like, even if he's guilty on the island, hey, Judge, Your Honor, come on, come on. You know what I mean? And he's not. But there's something about Elon that's like, because the way he talks is so dreadfully boring. I never actually see the content stuff like that. I never just his speaking style makes me want to kill someone. So I don't know much about him like you guys who sit and watch his whole interviews. Like some, his fans think that he's more intelligent than Plato. So like they don't realize his karmic fruits are ripe. That's why he's rich. It's not because he's that intelligent. And but people actually believe he's like a modern day Plato. They don't get that there's like not a luck component, but he was very moral in his past, so it's like showing up now. And you could make the argument that he's failing the incarnation like everyone else, but there's something about Elon where it's like, dude, you're a billionaire, but why are you not fit? You know? And I hate when people say, Zherka, you're not fucking totally fit right now, like your good old days. I'm getting my nuts licked. That's not what I don't, bro, stop that. I'm saying Elon looks like he's not healthy enough to make it to an old age. Am I tripping, or does he look like he's not? It seems like if you have billions of dollars, you should be on top of your health, right?
He's built like a refrigerator.
He's built like a Cybertruck.
Zerka, so
Yeah.
Christ was in the ninth. Christ was in the ninth dimension, right? But I've been reading a little literature of Steiner, but I haven't got to the part when he says how incarnation and reincarnation. Why are some people better looking in this carnation life, and then once you if you pass the test, what does it say? What is Steiner saying after death? Like when Christ gets involved,
Yeah.
where's that part? I haven't got to that part yet. I just wanted you to expand on it for me.
Basically, after you die will be the in between period from this incarnation to the next. So, a lot of people who die, they're so exhausted on this side that they want to stay on that side for a long time. Sometimes they stay 2,000 years, sometimes much longer, sometimes much shorter. Some of them want to uplift humanity into spirit. So, they want to come back and help everyone, but it's different for everyone. But usually the baseline is every 500 years you come back, which means, yes, you can miss out on a lot of things. Like most people listening to this call, you're not going to be around for the next 500 years, right? You're going to come back much more into the future. And if people don't understand that, like, things move quick like that, it's like it sounds slow, but you only have one more incarnation until the Antichrist shows up. You know that, right? And so things are moving very fast, not slow. A lot of people are like, man, this is taking forever. And I'm like, no, 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 you don't. When the Antichrist shows up, then you think the world's fucked now. You're about to see some crazy shit. And it all depends on what humanity does for each other. Like every thought you generate affects, even if you just stay in your room, all your thought forms actually go bleed out into the world. That's why most unconscious people, their thought forms are so weak, but they're still shaping the world. When people find this out, they freak out, they quit their jobs just to fix their thought forms, because no one wants to be responsible for all that. And I always say, what you don't know you're responsible for, you're safe from that stuff, believe it or not. It's the things you know you're doing wrong and you still do wrong. That's what you're not safe from. That's a Swedenborg teaching, right? Which would be a lower level initiate than Steiner, but still very important. Swedenborg is very important for you guys to, I know I push a lot of shit on you guys, but I'm telling you guys that this is the fountain of life, is everything Zerka's interested in, everything I've self-remembered, everything that comes natural to me and does not come natural to you. I want you guys to force it a bit too. Yeah. You guys should be up to date with Swedenborg and stuff like that, because this stuff battles your all that time you spend on social media reading about Shaniqua fighting another black chick. But if you want to know for death, death is really, really simple. The Christ is involved. And no Christian on the other side says, none of them say, I knew it. Yes, when your faith is reaffirmed, you glow, but no one says, I knew it. It's a sadness to know it and your friends to have not known it. Because not that they get to miss out on the Christ, like modern Christians say, you won't have the Christ. No, no, it's not that you get abandoned like that. It's more like you see how much of your evolution you missed out on without understanding who was God on earth. And unless you had a more atheist incarnation, for example, Destiny was so religious and dogmatic in his previous life that he actually has to develop atheism in this one to balance out, because dogmatic people ruin the world. You can even see how religious Destiny is for atheism. He has that militant atheism thing. So that's why no one is meant to be judged by other humans. That's why the Christ teaches to not judge another human, because one human has to go towards religion and the other human has to go towards free thinking, because one human in the last one had no religion and the other one had no free thinking. So it's every human you see is filled with contradictions because they're balancing out into their Jerusalem form, their Jerusalem period, right? The Jupiter period, the heaven period that everyone's pushing towards. So that's why you're not actually supposed to fully judge a human being at all, because even if someone's like a violent, they have to go through that. For example, Mike Tyson was accused of all that stuff and being a violent guy, biting people's ears off. But it was something he had to go through. Like, that's just how it went for his, think of it like an art project. And when you start seeing the world like this, you start seeing that humans are, it's almost like you feel bad for them. You feel bad, like, oh, wow, that purification process is way longer than I thought. It's not just what these stupid modern Christians talk about. Or I love, my favorite modern Christian take is, if you accept Jesus Christ on your deathbed, you're saved. That's my favorite modern take. You, if you kill 500 people with a knife, if you're just murdering people with a knife, 500 humans, and you accept Christ on your deathbed, but it's a genuine transformation. There's Christians on earth, I swear to God, most of them. You know, it's not a Catholic position, but a lot of Catholics believe this too for some reason if you talk to them. And it's like, no, if you stab someone with a knife 500 times in the heart, you are not allowed to evolve until your next incarnation where that happens to you. There will be someone that's unconscious that will be driven by these spirits. Remember, these evil spirits are still doing the will, right? The divine will is always perfect. So these evil spirits say, oh, look at this guy's karma. He stabbed someone 500 times in the heart. They have an impulse to enter that person and drive him, or excuse me, to enter a different person. And so let's say Bob stabbed someone in the heart 500 times. Then Tyler, in the next incarnation, will have an impulse to stab Bob. And Bob will know it's a perfect mirror. Bob will know exactly what it's like to be stabbed 500 times in the heart. But that doesn't mean that all bad things happening is a mirrored karmic version. No, you could make a new creation today and go stab someone today. You could, out of free will, break someone's path, right? You could step on someone's toes. You could do whatever the fuck you want, right? It's total freedom. But don't think that you enter higher worlds if you've stabbed someone 500 times. If you stab 500 people, if you've done that level of carnage, the only way you enter higher worlds is if your next incarnation that happens to you. If you're lucky, it'll the karma will return quickly in the same incarnation, which that cannot be explained. You know, for a lot of people it's in the next one, and for a lot of people it's this one. So that can't be explained, but you are not ever evolving without having done whatever happened to you, will whatever you did to someone, that's not free. Because remember, you have the Christ within you, meaning when you're stabbing with your hand another human being, the Christ is in you when you're doing that. You do realize, and that's why you can't bear it. That's why you come back and experience it and level out. And when you level out, you say, what the fuck is what is this unconscious state where I stabbed that guy so many times? Why was I that unconscious? I'm sure you guys have been angry with someone and you've gone really unconscious. Yes, your powers can dog walk you. It's not you dog walking your powers. Most of humans live 99% of their life being dog walked by their impulses, right? Which is the dead working through you. It's not a spooky thing. Think of them like germs, right? And I'm telling you right now, this 500-year period in between one life and another, all you're trying to do in the heaven parts is bring matter connect with spirit. Yes, it's fun to stay in the spiritual world. It's awesome. It's great. But there's an immense guilt that there's people on earth suffering. So you keep coming back down and saying, I can do more for the world. I can do. A lot of people do tap out. I'm not going to lie. And then there's bodhisattva masters who take a vow to not enter heaven until every single human being on earth is liberated, which takes way longer than you think. For some tribes, some star tribes have done it much sooner, some much later. I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of people who say we're on the right track. And the last spiritual boom we had was the 1950s sexual revolution, which is kind of Luciferic too. It's a little too much hope, too much hopium. People not going to work. They're like smoking crack and shit. We've had a bumpy way up since the dark period, which ended in 1899, I think. And so now we're back on the trajectory to going back upwards, and everyone can feel it. That it's like it's not as bad as World War II, but still dead babies, still people fighting, still people arguing. And I think where most of the evil on earth is, if we look at it from a quantity position, it's divorce and cheating, right? That's where souls are having the most karmic pains. And like if a lot of people don't realize that if your girl just randomly cheats on you, your wife, and you don't know why, you felt like she was just, it was like a compulsive thing. She's not even in love with other guys. She just needed to do that to you. She just kind of unconsciously did that to you. It's because you cheated on her in the last one. And so that's why she has that impulse to keep that karmic stream with you, keep hurting you, and you keep hurting her. And who knows who started that, right?
What does Steiner say about people's incarnation that came out or if women came out beautiful or men handsome? What is that about? What does
Yeah,
that mean in the past life?
yeah, that one's it gets confusing because beauty can mean so many things, but you know how no human can define the word beauty, right? It's not proportion, it's not the word beauty is it actually the secret of the word beauty actually means morality. That's what no one understands, that when you're looking at anything beautiful in nature, you're seeing morality at its highest form. That's that's kind of why you fall for a hoe. You're seeing everything moral in her built up. Even if she's a piece of shit right now, we still build a lot over these many energies. And so you fall in love with this hoe and she cheats on you. And she used all of her beauty, all that morality that she's built up to now to trick you. But a human can either have a harmonious face because they're not liars and pieces of shit. There's a lot of ugly people who they're ugly because they crafted their soul like that. But you're not actually allowed to go into public and say, this guy's ugly, I don't trust him. Even though that's how I live my life. Like when I look at prisoner photos, those are some ugly motherfuckers, man. You look at prisoner photos, but why there's a rule that you're not supposed to trust a good looking person is one, you can get fooled because Ted Bundy was good looking and he murdered everyone. So you can fall off the ladder. You could have many incarnations of being awesome, and then something bad happens to you and you fall off the ladder, you become Ted Bundy. Now, all that good looks you've built up, you use it to snake people. Same with politicians. Some of them are good looking, but they snake everyone. So it's not just points on morality. Another thing is there's another reason. Sometimes it's not about morality at all. Some incarnations, I wouldn't call these incarnations beautiful, I'd call them extra beautiful. So a beautiful person, chances are they're more moral than you. That is true, right? Just trust me on that. And a lot of people think it's because they're good looking, so they had an easier life. That's why they're a better person. No, it's the other way around. It's their inner qualities showing outwardly. But If you ever see someone that's extreme, not just beautiful, not just good looking, extremely good looking, be careful of those, because that's usually not morality shining. That's usually something else. If a soul has never experienced the beautiful incarnation and that's what it wants, then it maxes the beauty stat and says, I want that. So if you see a good looking person, chances are you can trust them. Don't lose your money, but you have a good bet there. If you see someone stunning, chances are they're a piece of shit. Why? Because the only reason they incarnated was to experience what it's like to be stunning, right? That's why a lot of stunning, beautiful women are evil, but good looking women are very cool. Have you ever noticed that? That's why people love the mid bitch more than the stunning bitch. Have you ever noticed that? Which nowadays it's a little confused because in our self-remembering process, our self-remembering journey, we can intuitively remember, because think of yourself at the finish line already. Not that you are, but just think of it like that, right? That you can strengthen that self-remembering. Why do you think women are getting their lips done, their boobs done, and looking like cartoons? All of that cartoony look is coming from the future of what a woman's going to look like. They want that level of moral development right now, where the boobs are bigger and everything is perfect. They want that immediately, so they're getting surgery and stuff like that. But where is it coming from? Where are the images in their head coming from? Right? Is it just, did men say we want bigger tits? Well, they had smaller tits for thousands of years, so not really. But no, it's a Lucifer. I want the future. I want it's just like when a steroid guy wants his body that he'll build in 10 years in 1 month. And I know a lot of people think I'm exaggerating. You can beat 10 years of weight training in a month of not just steroids, but a really well planned cycle, right? Maybe 2 months, right? But yes, you can beat that. Make no mistake about that. If you don't know how powerful hormones are, or just any alchemical change in your body with drugs, if you don't know how powerful they are, the average man, if they get on testosterone, gains 25 fucking pounds and gets a little leaner at the same time in the first month. And a lot of that's water, but the humans can't do that naturally. Like, what are you talking about? Maybe super newbie gains. But yeah, anytime someone looks into the future, like women are turning into angels, their boobs are just going to get bigger, everything's going to get more beautiful. That's the trajectory. The sad part is because they're faking it early, they're not waiting many incarnations. The sad part is it's all fake. Like, that's why have you ever noticed fake tit bitches usually lie a lot? Like, because they have to pay for the surgeries. They're always broke from surgeries, so they have to steal more money in society. So they're like not good people. But yeah, same with men obsessed with building muscle. They're not obsessed with building muscle because they're just fucking bodybuilders or they enjoy art or to be the biggest guy. No, it's because they want their future gains. In the future, man is going. It's almost like the movie Avatar, man, which is talking about the Atlantean times, if you haven't noticed. But man is going to get taller, more muscular, better looking, and younger. That's why Zoomers look younger than men from 30 years ago. You fucking idiots. Modern Christianity doesn't teach you any of this because it's for monkeys. It's literally for monkeys. Modern Christianity doesn't even believe in evolution, doesn't even believe you're evolving. You know how much you're evolving? Who here can look into photos of themselves 5 years ago? You look very different 5 years ago. Sometimes you look very different within the matter of a month. Like I've had guys tell me the girl that they were pursuing, they started dating her. And that month, they started looking different in the mirror. And that happens all the time. You start dating a woman you really like, and you somehow look better in the mirror. And that evolution happens quick. You stop dating her, nothing changes except you're uglier for some reason. Same with women. Like my community always used to say, Zherka, how come the e-girls you're with, we never make fun of them? Because they look so good. They're so good looking around you. but they're not hot. I saw them on this stream. I saw them on, and I'm like, dude, you're watching them when they're with me. That's why they're good looking. You, when they're not with me, they're ugly again. That's how it works. It happens to all faces morph daily, let alone weekly. Um, uh, I was I I was never contacted by someone like on a train station except my brother's manager who said, "I want you for modeling." I'm like, "Nah, I'm good looking. I'm not good looking like that." And but he'd only ask me when I had a girlfriend, right? When you have a girlfriend, you're generating love throughout the day, all day, even when you wake up, even before you open your phone and see her text. The world fucks with you. When you're generating love, that's why I'm saying every human runs around looking for dopamine. It's not dopamine, they're looking for the Holy Spirit, love. And we deplete ourselves from love. We get away from it to transform. We do all sorts of things. But our biggest transformations always come from touching that fountain of energy. And when we can't touch it, we get really tired and exhausted, go to sleep and touch it. The humans cannot live without going to sleep and touching love. The love is the Holy Spirit, and not the Holy Spirit of just the Christian mysteries. It's the great spirit that the shamans talk about. It's the same spirit. That's why Ezekiel's vision had the head of an eagle and an ox, and it was the same shamanistic vision. That's why it's very stupid when Christians go to the natives and say, "Oh, we're different people." So yeah, there's some fucking freak show natives sacrificing to certain, but there was a lot of natives who were in line with the Holy Spirit. It's just they were doing it in an instinctive, dream-like consciousness, whereas the Christians were touching the Holy Spirit conscious, higher levels of evolution. Do you understand? And remember, you can always go spiritual and instinctual and dreamlike or super conscious. You can go either which way. It doesn't matter, right? The only problem is you're meant to do it through thinking. That's the whole point. Imagine being in 2026 and saying, I'm not going to develop my thinking. It's like, what else are you going to develop? Because there's nothing else you can. If let's say you're rhythmic, you like guitar, you have to apply your thinking towards getting good at the guitar. You can't just play the guitar instinctively. You have to get better and better and build concepts over it. And over time, this is you unfolding, and it's going to be connected to you playing guitar to your girlfriend or whatever the fuck these simps do nowadays. But that's how it's all connected. Now, Zerka, do you mean the whole point of waking up in the morning is think of like a cocaine rat? You know those lab rats that are looking for the cheese? That's what you are, but you're looking for love. Love in the guitar you play, love in the football you do, love in the watching the movies with your friends, love in the business, love in the it never ends because you die if you step away from love. You When you step away from love and turn to instinct, you run on compulsions, meaning you take a seat back and let the dead work through you. And that's what Jeffrey Epstein did. He let the dead work through him and they filled his cock with blood. He was like so horny because he kept going into those darker states. The only time he was conscious is when he was cold and calculative, using his mind to make more money. But why did Jeffrey Epstein want billions of dollars? Because as a millionaire, you cannot eat babies, it's impossible. You have to be a billionaire to get away with that. So if your appetite is children, he used all of his thinking power on setting up a life where he can get away with everything and take everyone down with him if anything went wrong. And he did get away with it. He's on an island, and a lot of and he's a genius because he got the elites to say, "Hey, put out a meme, no, put out a conspiracy, and make the caption say Jerry kill himself." And I'm like, whoa, people are deeply unconscious. Like the cattle are actually repeating what the elites want them to repeat. These people are fucking stupid as shit. And so I'm telling people like, okay, guys, listen, in today's call especially, love is not you see on TV or movies or what you experience with your girlfriend and stuff. You have no idea what divine love is. You know, divine love is so powerful that when you touch it, it's a horizon that can never make you feel weak. So, if you've ever felt even a second of divine love, your first clarity is, I don't care where my wife is. I don't care if she cheats on me. She's a spiritual being, and I'll see her at the top because I want to go to God. And that's how powerful clarity is, like real divine love, where you see yourself at the end of space and time and you say to yourself, I don't want to hold my wife back on Earth evolution. I don't want to hold my friends back. I don't want all of this. Please don't cheat on me. Is you trying to hold another soul down? And there's so many Luciferic teachers that turn into cucks with this teaching. But I recommend you don't turn into a cuck because that's one-sided. Stay in the middle, dude. A lot of these guys are like, Zherka, how come you never think about marriages? I wake up every day of my life and see myself. I connect. I meditate into outside of space and time. I connect to there. And it humbles me. It's like nothing, not the news, nothing matters in the world. Not that I'll ignore it, right? Not that I will ditch the world. Not that I'll ever escape from it like you guys. When you guys get into this stuff, you guys for some reason stop texting everyone you know, which is not supposed to happen. I'm telling you right now, you don't know how long this journey actually is. And you're meant to play with it. You know, you can even enjoy suffering. Have you ever been working out so hard that you're finally getting your six pack and it's those last 10 pounds and you're not those idiots that can't get them off. You know that a lot of people get stuck there. You're those people who knows what to do, but you know how hard it is because you know now it requires more energy demand, tighter diet, all that. And you're on that Stairmaster or whatever JW does. Shout out JW Stairmaster. You know, I find that way too hard. No one goes on that one, right? No one likes stairs, but that's why it works, right? And you get on that motherfucker and you're burning the calories and you're at those last 10 pounds and all you can think to yourself is like, whoa, I, I'm finishing my fitness journey. And it's almost like the plan came perfectly together and this is the end, and you start going hard at the end and you realize how much you love suffering on that stairmaster. Every contraction on your abs as you're walking that stairmaster, it feels euphoric. It's like you're at the last 10,000 steps, let's say, and you're about to finish and you're about to have your six pack, your dream body, everything's melting off you, and you go, why is this euphoric? Why is this workout that I've hated for months? Why is it so euphoric right now? And I'm telling you, every minute of your life can be euphoric. If that part of the workout can be euphoric, imagine your other suffering packages. And a lot of my students have said, what about when you lose a loved one? Can you find euphoria there? And I swear to you, I'm telling you right now, only my students will be ready for that day. They will embrace it with a euphoria of, I don't give up until this is all finished. A lot of people give up when they lose someone they love. And it's like, dude, the game starts when you lose someone you love. It doesn't end there, it starts there. People don't realize that just because I don't do it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. You guys should be envisioning your 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, all in different versions and clothes and what you'll be wearing and energies and how you look and Skittles. Stop that. All right, I will ban you. Okay, that's just distracting. What the fuck is she spamming like a retard? Like, what is wrong with these women, man? Why is
Zerka,
she?
JW wants to come up.
I don't give a fuck if JW wants to come up. Who the fuck are you? I'm fucking talking here. What the fuck is this shit, bro? What is wrong with it? What is everyone distracting me for? Let me get it out before I forget it. The end of your journey is so far away, but can only be reached when you are in the middle of your journey. Do you understand that it's always been you in the middle? And it'll always be you in the middle, because if God created you and your consciousness, did he make your consciousness like everyone else in society? No. Every human on earth has a different, I'm not saying just level. Let's say we're all at the same level. It would still be a different color for each one of us, you idiot. Every point of view, if you go into the Akashic record and you see through George Washington's eyes, the world's going to look different to you. If you see through Zherka's eyes, what you're building is going to be unique to you. And here's the most mind-blowing part. It's supposed to be your present to God. That's why there's free will involved. That after all of the many, many cycles you go through, you build a mind that is a gift. Like, look through my eyes. Do you get it? And it's not like it's God's going to download your mind. It's that he's with you every step of the way. That means the biggest burden you'll ever feel is when you realize every time you were in pain, you forgot about the pain because you healed. So who was actually in pain? If you know you broke your leg last year, but your leg is fine now, who actually screamed in pain? It's not you, because you're not screaming right now. Is it the old you? No, it's not. You can't prove that exists. Who was screaming in pain when you broke your leg last year? The Christ took on your pain. Everything you do to harm yourself is taken into the Christ. That's how evil mankind actually is. You're always going to heal. You're always going to be okay eventually. And all you're doing is harming the Lord. When you jump out of a fucking two-story thing to show off to your buddies, do you know that it's nothing to the Lord too? Even because he's taken on everything. All the pain in earth evolution has been taken. So you break your leg 1,000 times. That's nothing compared to what the Christ has done for us. Do you understand what I'm saying? We are all a different face of the Christ. It's just not right now, right? We're all going back to that meeting point in the middle. And in that meeting point, slowly you will fade into thinking, my neighbor is me. And everything blends back into the monad, the one. But the number one thing you should remember is that was in the past. This time we're going back towards spirit in a different way after the fall. And this time we're going back as individual egos, but we're still going to feel connected. That means you don't get to fade away. Just like in the past, we dissolve back into the one. This time, when we go back into the one, we come as ourselves. That's why we don't receive God first, we receive the kingdom. Do you understand that God is in the start, but in the end will be the kingdom, as in go explore? And let me tell you this, those kingdoms are much larger than the Milky Way. And there's way more of them than stars in the fucking night sky. There is so many more higher worlds that you will feel so small. You will feel like a cell in the embryo that is Earth. And you're going to be connected to this even when you're a snail, even when you're and piece of shit drug dealer always connected to it, whether you're on low levels of evolution or high. You mean Jeffrey Epstein? He's going to have more chances to evolve too. But eventually there will be a cutoff point. In the year 3000 when the Antichrist returns. And then souls have to choose, because we'll be entering a new stage, not Earth evolution. We'll be prepped for all of that glory in between life and death, in between incarnations. That kingdom, we want that kingdom, but conscious when we're incarnated, right? That takes a long time. And yes, everything on earth you see that's alive can be more alive. That's why after a near death accident, you feel very, very invigorated. You feel energetic. You can feel more alive. That's why if Zherka finished an hour and a half meditation session and turns on a Twitter Spaces right now, you feel more alive when I am speaking because my thinking is more alive than a couple hours ago. And Earth, when I say more alive, I mean the green is going to keep becoming more green. There'll be more grass. The trees will get taller. They will eventually be the size of mountains. As we turn everything into spirit, just like inwardness, the sun, the earth will become a star. That's what it means to spiritualize matter. And you guys don't realize that you spent your whole lives wasting your time. Only the tragedies leveled you up and nothing in between. So excuse me when I say I'm the only channel on earth doing the right thing. What an amazing ego that is. How could he say that about himself? Why would someone say that about that? Is the most evil thing a human being can say. But I'll ask you like this. Would you rather this message hit all of us? Or would you rather replace Donald Trump with Zherka? Be real with yourself.
Zerka, if you say there's one last incarnation, so are you saying some will go to hell? If, you know,
Yeah. You got to understand, a lot of people who say, man, I can't wait to die, it doesn't work like that. When you're dead, you are unconscious, meaning you're going to reincarnate and not remember. So the in between period before one incarnation and the other, it doesn't matter how much fun you're having for those thousands of years because you'll never be able to remember it. Only on earth can you train yourself to remember the in between periods, which we call sleep. Do you understand what I'm saying? That
yeah,
the you can keep you've already been in the in between heavens 10,000 times already. You don't remember any of them. So even the next one you're not going to remember because that you're entering that without the powers to remember. Only on earth can you develop those sense organs, those powers. If you do it on earth, guess what? You can make way more progress. And that's what everyone was. What do you think? People are supposed to talk about Trump till 70 years old and die? That's all you're supposed to do on earth? Are you stupid? That's the whole point. So that's why people are saying, "Wow, then I'll just take my own life." And it's like, dude, I'm sure, I guarantee you, you're an idiot. I guarantee you. Let's say someone jumped off a bridge today and took their own life. You would literally wake up as some fucking 12-year-old entering a bit of awareness somewhere else. You will never remember the in between progress, even if you're 1,000 years ahead now. You will never, no human remembers the in between. The in between process is the kingdom. But your point is to have that in between process while you're conscious, while you're on earth. And that takes many times. That's the whole point. The earth must become a star, and you must be conscious. And yes, everyone who goes the path of evil from to the point of no return, right, which takes a long time then to pull them back up, it's not because they're being judged and all that stuff. It's because they want to go that way, right? Just like drug addicts stay together and do fentanyl together. Yes, in the future, there will be souls that just want to stay in the darkness, and they have total freedom to do that, right? Remember that the Christ just has the hand out all the time, doesn't force, will never force. Actually, even 1 second touching you, forcing you, would ruin perfection, like literal. Remember, love is freedom and unity, meaning you can go do fentanyl all day, or you can go towards the Lord, but you're free to do both. There is nothing, there is, God could snap his fingers and say, do this, do that, but anything that damages your divine energy would be considered a contradiction. And remember, it's not that God is afraid of a contradiction. It's not that it's not his nature, which it's not. It's not just that. None of that matters. None of the logical stuff matters. The only thing matters is that God is love in a divine form. Have you ever felt a bit of love from a girlfriend? It's incredible. But have you ever felt divine love? It is not, you could never describe it. Infinite love is like you getting thousands and thousands and millions of incarnations and different angles and keep going, whatever path you need to go, helping you along the way as you spit in his face. You are the most rotten, nasty piece of shit. Infinite love never says no. Every heartbeat you have is a wish. And your real powers, yes, it's not God creating things for you. It's here's your heart, do whatever you want. Every wish can have something. And you tangled that up and fucked that up and fallen in matter. But yes, as you evolve, it's not just the kingdom that you inherit. Remember, there's always two kingdoms. One is your personal heaven, and everything you like and dislike. Let's say Zherka dislikes dragons. Doesn't mean I don't want them to exist. Zherka will be fighting dragons in his heaven with the sword. Do you get all your sympathies and antipathies will be with you? Everything you accumulate. That's why a lot of people's astral heaven looks like, for example, JW's heaven's going to have a lot of machines and weights and a lot of women looking at him, and he's just going to be the strongest guy in the gym. But the gym's going to be in the sky, floating towards the stars. It's going to be cosmic, and you guys would be blown away. You'll all say JW has the most incredible heaven. Then you'll look into Zerka's astral heaven. You'll be like, whoa, he's flying around with a Super Saiyan aura. Holy shit, Zerka's heaven has no women in it. It's so different from JW's. There's no 72 virgins. There's nothing. Zerka's just flying around fighting Captain Ginyu and fighting what the Zerka's looks like his childhood form. It's like a Dragon Ball Evan. Zerka's heaven looks insane, but I want JW's with the women, and everyone's heaven is going to look really about the things they talk about. But that's not total heaven. There's a higher heaven after that that blows your fucking mind. And remember, the first one blows your mind harder than the second one. Why? Because you don't know the second one exists when you see the first one. That's why you can get lost in the first one. And this is still considered satanic. This is still considered less, because you could have all the worlds of Earth. That's the satanic force, or Luciferic sometimes. Either way, you could have all that, and you're supposed to be the initiate that's not tempted. Then you can go into your astral heaven. That's everything about you, and that's where most people get trapped. But there's an even higher one, and it's mind blowing Deva world where it's not. just your thoughts, which is connected to the world, but it's the world thoughts. And that one stretches so far beyond what you can imagine that you will be like, oh, Earth evolution now feels like it feels like as beautiful as that was. I was just a baby. I was a literal baby fetus when I was on Earth. Now I'm finally 5 years old because I'm in the higher Deva, and you're gonna strive for an even higher place where you're a spiritual 10-year-old. And you're still not an adult after millions of fucking years. That's how many wins the soul gets to go through, which is fucking mind blowing. And there's a lot of souls who say, that sounds fucking exhausting. You're only exhausted when you're away from spirit. That's what it means to be exhausted. It doesn't mean your cells are tired. It means you're away from spirit, right? If you have inexhaustible energy like Zherka, it means you're really in line, aligned, right? You are falling in line like a soldier. You want to climb. You want to go to the higher worlds. Now check this out. What about the souls that are exhausted, but they're good souls? That can happen. A lot of them melt. They bleed right into the background. It's almost like an unconscious sleep, like they're being dragged along. Yes, you can be in literal cosmic stars asleep and rejuvenated enough, but souls get so rejuvenated in their sleep, they always want to expand more and more towards this comet we're chasing. And the comet we're chasing that we think is God is with us the whole time. But because ego consciousness wants to be its own God, yes, God wants you to be the God of your world, because by the time you become your own God, God has already evolved infinitely more than God. You're always a step back. Isn't that so intense? That's why you inherit the kingdom. That's why it feels to every soul like they are becoming God. Because when you become God, where do you think God will actually be? It takes you this long to become that. It takes you this long to become that. Do you understand that it's never ending revelation? And if you want it to end, you can always go right back to sleep. There will be a sleep period, which is bliss. And then there's a creation period, which is explorer's bliss. And then there's people in the middle like me that enjoy both sides. That's why I have the best sleep and I explore the world like like Christopher Columbus if he was what did he even do? I'm more like Washington, man. And a lot of people don't than what you see on earth. Trust me, you are going to be shocked. And every human is a different color, unique. And here's the craziest part, you are unique to God too. That's why He created you. How can you be unique to something divine, though? How's that fucking possible? That's the gift. That is the gift of suffering. That all those degrees, every step up the ladder, everything you're meant to go through is a present after present after present. And anytime your evolution is slowing down, you're thrown into suffering. You're challenged more. Why? Because the worst thing ever is to be left behind in matter. That is the worst. That's why every spirit that's good tries to give us suffering too, because Jeffrey Epstein didn't suffer enough. And children, you can be so off balance that you start and murdering people out of instinctive compulsions, out of your lower nature, out of the dead working through you. And when you realize that no human's actually alive right now, that's why the Christ always speaks about I am the way, the truth, the life. as in no one listening to Zherka right now is actually alive yet. That's why we're striving towards the life. That's why you get angry, drink alcohol, stab someone. You're under the dead compulsion because you are dead. They work through you like fish. And a lot of you guys don't realize that it's like, that's why Zherka stares at the fern. And a lot of people are like, that sounds evil. How can this the animals and the trees, and they're never going to be here again because there's going to be more of something different. That's what evolution is. And the Lord is evolving as a continuous gift for us, even though at the final point at the top, there is no movement. That point, it shouldn't even be talked about. None of you are reaching that bliss meditative point in the middle. None of you should even be talking about that. You guys should be running around the world conquering and doing. You guys should be convinced that every human you've spoken to in your life lied to you besides Zherka. You should you should be convinced that a cult leader like Zherka has given you more than anyone else on earth, even more than your parents, because your parents prepped you for only one life. Because they don't know shit. They're stupid as fuck. And if you prep for one life, you always have a shit life. But when you prep for eternity, you're always saving someone, saving others, doing the right thing. It almost feels like when you're taking steps towards eternity that you have so much time. But really, those blades of grass at the park will never look like that again, dude. They will look different. Just like vegetation looked different in Jesus' time, it looks different today, and it'll keep looking different. You don't want to miss out on this art project. That's why I say run around with some hose at the park. Go to Hawaii. Do not become a dying soul like Myron's and Fresh and Sneeko. And you don't want to sound like those people, man. They always sound like they're dying. Like, why do you sound like that? You guys sound like you're in pain, like constipation. Every streamer sounds like they're in constipation and constant agitation and aggravation. The most amazing part is no human on earth has ever wanted you to evolve. They're just doing their own thing and unconscious. And it's like, dude, I feel bad that Trump is your president, because if Zerka was your president, you guys would be seeing the sun glowing through the blades of grass on the ground. It would have a tint of gold. We would be 10 degrees towards the north. We would be closer to spiritualizing matter. We would be making our own heaven here, bit by bit, through thinking, feeling, and willing. But you have Trump who's talking about taxes like a fucking idiot. Like, we give a fuck about taxes, and all these dumb motherfuckers go. I had my whole team saying, you gotta sell all that Ethereum, you gotta sell your Bitcoin, you got Zerka, you're fucking rich, but I fucked you over. And I said, calm down! Calm the fuck down! If I get screwed right now, it's nothing to cry about, because if you ever get screwed financially hard, it's the best thing that ever happened to you. It is the greatest thing. That is, remember, The blessings and the curses in your life are not one is great, one is shit, one is good, one is meh. No, the blessings and the curses are identical, equal. They're literally equal in your evolution, meaning a curse is identical to a blessing, even if it means someone in close to you died. Even if someone close to you died, is a blessing. And it's not something you're supposed to tell the masses because they'll kill you for it. No one wants to hear that. So if you lose 250 fucking $1,000, these motherfuckers are fucking me over. These motherfucking Ethereum. I'm mad too, nigga. I'm human too. That shit stings. That shit fucking hurts. But calm down, because it's just comedy. If you lose everything and you have to start streaming with a donation button again, which might be the fucking case, man. I'm not gonna fucking make it, man. I'm not gonna fucking make it. Hey, man, just ride the wave. Just ride the wave. And if you already admit that on the Stairmaster, as you're getting shredded, it hurts, it burns, it's hot, I can't take it anymore, but it's euphoric also. If you can admit that pain can be euphoric, then why the fuck do you think pain is from the devil? Pain is from the Lord. Even though he's not doing it to you, you're doing it to yourself. That gift to do it to yourself, to hurt yourself, is from the Lord. You have the power to co-create with the Lord, you fool. That's the whole point in this stairway up to the you will be an angel. But a lot of people are not gonna make it. That's like one thing that I wish, I've always maintained why I have all the attributes, a man reason for that. There's a reason why you wouldn't pick Tom Brady, you'd pick Zherka, because you know he's cackling and laughing harder than Tom Brady. Why? Because I didn't spend my time being a sports ball playing. Just these niggas is happy for a couple hours on the field like monkeys. I'm happy every fucking minute, especially when I'm in pain. When I'm in pain, it's like, who the fuck are you to say you're sore? Who the fuck are you to say you're sore, nigga? How the fuck are you sore when I'm a... How the fuck? Why are you smiling saying you're sore? If you're smiling, yo, what the fuck you mean you're sore? Sore. You think you're worth that Cialis tablet? You